Judge Deaton has approved Ripple's motion to seal 3 documents that could actually win them the case. So why did Ripple actually ask Judge Deaton to seal these 3 documents when these 3 documents are actually incriminating to the SEC's case? In this video, I'm going to talk about why they just did what they did. And there's been some big price predictions out there, specifically involving XRP and this market cycle. And if you've been watching my videos for quite some time, you'll know that clarity of XRP and getting out of this SEC case is going to be key to finding that price prediction that people have been looking for. However, there is one that is floating around, and a lot of it's based on technical analysis, and I think it's pretty accurate, but it's missing a couple of pieces. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what it's actually missing, or what the public might be missing, and what the possibility is of XRP actually going at $10 to $13. And I'm also going to talk a little bit more about some on-chain analysis, not just in Bitcoin, but XRP, that are helping people to accurately predict what's going on with Bitcoin, why some people miss it, and why some people get it right. Hey everyone, my name is Randy, and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, I'm of course covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news and investment markets and personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you and you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button, click that bell notification icon, and if you're feeling generous today, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up and watch this video the whole way through. Those are the 2 best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. So with that, let's jump into it. So let's talk about some price predictions for XRP and Bitcoin. Recently, there is a YouTuber known as Blockchain Backer who does a lot of technical analysis, and from some of the comments on my videos, a lot of people follow him as well, and some other people believe that he's just not very accurate. Well, I'm going to talk about what he just said about XRP and what his prediction for Bitcoin is kind of missing. So he came out with a video the other week that I thought was really well done, and it was his prediction of XRP going $10 to $13 during this market cycle. Now, of course, a lot of that was based on technical analysis, price indicators, things like that. But keep in mind, he's also predicting a $75,000 Bitcoin as the absolute top, or somewhere around there, before it retreats into a bear market. Now, why did he do that? Well, his analysis is largely based on Elliott waves. It's largely based on the technical analysis of price movements, price indicators, volume, things like that. But in my opinion, in the crypto world, that is only a small part of the story. Because in my opinion, you need to look at what is going on chain and do some on-chain analysis in order to see what is actually going on underwater. Because a lot of times that movement underwater is what actually determines the pricing. And of course, sometimes it can be the opposite, but nonetheless, you need both of them. And of course, you need to involve all 3 things if you want to include market cycle analysis, and possibly 4 things if you want to include things like news, FUD, and mainstream talking points. And maybe a 5th if you want to include Elon Musk. So why do we need to look at on-chain analysis to accurately make more of a prediction about what's going to happen during this market cycle? Well, because there's several indicators that you're going to want to pay attention to. One that I've been previously mentioning in a lot of my videos is the amount of Bitcoin that is currently on exchanges. This is a key metric because you can clearly see, along with price movements of Bitcoin, that the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges typically means people are ready to sell, or they're trying to sell their Bitcoin, or they're waiting for that precise moment. And right now, the amount of Bitcoin that is actually on exchanges is near a 3-year low. But some other charts that we need to take a look at and take into consideration are the illiquid supply shock ratios, the highly liquid supply shock ratios, long-term holder supply shock ratios versus short-term holder supply shock ratios, and some of the others that Will Clement and guys like Willy Woo have been pointing out that we should really be paying attention to, like realized price of both long and short-term holders, market value relative to realized value, supply deltas, and even Bitcoin days destroyed, which I'm not going to go into now, but it's basically a reflection of how much Bitcoin is actually being spent on things. And so a lot of this analysis shows clear accumulation as well as de-risking zones. And it helps a lot of people when overlaid with the price of Bitcoin over top of these charts to get a clearer picture of what's actually going to happen in the next 1, 2, 3, even 6 months. So I'm going to have to disagree with Blockchain Backer as to the top of what Bitcoin actually will be based on what the on-chain analysis is actually showing. So being that he called $75,000 the top for Bitcoin, but then called XRP $10 to $13 potential based strictly on price metrics and other market cycle predictors, is it actually possible for XRP to go above $10 to $13? Or may it not even make it there? A lot of people on Twitter say it's not even going to get above $2, or maybe $2 this market cycle. But again, you have to look at some of the on-chain analysis. But unless you follow Ripple and XRP really closely, you probably missed some of the information that is actually coming out. Which is not a shocker because in the investment world, crypto is still brand spanking new. So Ripple just put out a newsletter a couple of days ago showing that the ODL, the on-demand liquidity, the usage of XRP, in 2021, just this year alone, has 25x'd. That's right, 25x'd just this year. And not only that, 3 of their top 5 customers are now using the ODL system, reaching 20 different countries. And again, all of this is without the United States having any volume whatsoever and using XRP or the ODL because of why? There is no regulatory clarity as of yet. The other thing they tweeted out along with that was that their volume incentives have dropped by 90% over the past 2 years, because that means these institutional financial settlement companies and programs are not being incentivized to use ODL and XRP. They're using it of their own accord and realizing those cost savings. So if anybody cares to venture a guess as to how much usage of the ODL and XRP is actually going to have once the United States gets regulatory clarity on XRP, yeah. So is that $10 to $13 XRP price prediction accurate? Yeah, it could absolutely be accurate. Could it be a lot higher? Yeah, it could absolutely be a lot higher. Because if you look at the on-chain data, as well as the on-chain data for Bitcoin, which drives really the rest of the crypto market, you can see that there's still a lot of upward movement to happen. But it all comes down to the case versus the SEC and when is it actually going to end and get clarity for XRP. Because if it doesn't happen before the end of this market cycle, well, no one really knows what's going to happen. But if it happens after this market cycle, well, no one really knows what's going to happen. And a lot of people, of course, are now speculating that if it happens after the Bitcoin bull run, that this may be the decoupling event for XRP from the rest of the crypto market. And now to the news that could give Ripple a massive advantage in the case versus the SEC. And that's the news that Judge Netburn has actually granted Ripple's motion to seal the documents that could help them win the case. So I'm going to talk about why they're actually doing this when it could actually help them win the case. So why are these documents so important? Well, the judge has ordered the SEC to provide 3 additional documents at Ripple's request that the judge is actually going to review in private. They're not going to be public. They're going to be sealed now, according to Ripple's motion. These documents specifically discussed how they gave Ethereum its free pass, an email chain that actually went around discussing these documents, and the actual document that, of course, would turn into William Hinman's personal opinion that Ethereum is not a security. And as we know now, that is not his personal opinion. This idea was passed around long before he got his hands on it. And why is this important to Ripple's case? Well, because Ripple is claiming fair notice defense, which means there was no clarity in the regulated market for XRP, whether or not it was a security. The SEC said there's plenty of clarity. Well, these documents basically prove that there wasn't because they were still trying to formulate whether or not they thought Ethereum was even a security or anything else at the time. These documents are going to force the SEC to show their hand and show that there wasn't any clarity based on everything that was discussed and based on this email chain that is going to come out in court. Now, why does Ripple want these documents sealed? Well, the speculation is that Ripple actually wants them sealed because they can hold that as an advantage over the SEC and possibly go after a settlement. Why would they do that? Well, if they go after a settlement and get what they want, which the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, has said, they are not willing to accept any settlement unless it comes with clarity that XRP is not a security on a go-forward basis and they are in the clear. And if they don't get it, they can move to trial. And when that moves to trial, those documents will more than likely be unsealed. And the rest of the world is going to get to see what other Twitter sleuths and YouTube sleuths, as Brad Garlinghouse has put it, that has been uncovering for months, the world is going to get to see directly from the courtroom. So in other words, Ripple is saying, listen, we're going to keep this information private, and that's going to be their leverage to getting what they want. At least that's what the speculation is. Because if this actually goes to trial, you know all hell is going to break loose. But if you want to follow along and find out right along with me, make sure you're subscribed to the Late Night Grind. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead, click on the community tab and check out some of those polls that I put up there on a weekly basis. Love to get your guys' opinion and thoughts on the rest of this crypto market. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And again, I always appreciate the big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.